Mice struggle to live safely and prosper among all of the world's harsh conditions and predators. The Mouse Guard, a selfless group of cloaked mice, keep the common mouse safe from predators, weather, and the wilderness. It matters not what you fight, but what you fight for.
Okay, I am here with David Petersen, and he's going to tell us all about his stuff.
My name is David Petersen. I'm the creator and artist on a book called Mouse Guard. It's a medieval fantasy comic about mice with swords who fend off all the predators of the world that are trying to get at them. You can find out more about Mouse Guard and my work at mouseguard.net. In the meantime, I can show you that I've done 2 volumes so far of Mouse Guard. Fall, which starts off the story, and Winter, which is the follow-up. I'm in the middle of the 3rd series now, called The Black Axe, and I just finished issue 2 just came out, and when we get to issue 6, I'll collect that as a hardcover like the other 2 that I just showed you.
What inspired you for Mouse Guard in the first place?
Part of it's my love of animal stories, things like Wind in the Willows, Aesop's Fables, Rudyard Kipling stuff, things like Disney's Robin Hood. Also, like I said, my enjoyment of playing fantasy role-playing games with friends. And then also, I was in Boy Scouts, and so there's some of that, like joining an organization and rising up in the ranks and having these kind of outdoorsy, patrol-y type duties and responsibilities. And so it's just kind of an amalgamation of all that. It's basically a series where I can draw all the stuff I want to draw and tell a fun story at the same time. I launched Mouse Guard in 2005, so 6 years ago, actually at this show. I wouldn't have considered myself a professional at that time. I was still working a day job, so I think I quit my day job in 2007? Or 2008, somewhere in there.
That just picks up gradually. That's how it usually is with everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I probably could have stopped earlier than that, but I wanted to be sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a mortgage to pay, and it was like, I'd rather get a bunch of sleepless nights where I'm doing comics at night and still having to get up to commute to the day job to make sure that mortgage is going to be paid, make sure I have health insurance still, those kind of things. And I didn't bail on the real job until this was going full steam ahead enough that I had the faith.
What made you think of making a role-playing game out of it? Because that didn't seem like anything that would ever occur to me.
I was a big role player as a kid, and it actually inspired some of the mice are based on friends of mine, so there were character interactions that we had in Dungeons and Dragons kind of gaming groups that I thought that'd be fun to instill into a comic, and so there was some of that already there. I was a fan, and fans of my work started asking, where's the role-playing game? When is this going to be a role-playing game? Well, I'd be open to that, and the right guy came along for the job, Luke Crane, who already had a successful line of role-playing games on his own system called the Burning Wheel system. And Luke said, I want to do a Mouse Guard game. And so we had a chat, and I realized he was the right man for the job. This is why, one of the reasons that Luke was the right man for the job. Luke was willing to take his own system, his proprietary system, Burning Wheel, and instead of trying to make Mouse Guard fit Burning Wheel, he made Burning Wheel fit Mouse Guard. He altered his base system to fit Mouse Guard because we did not want it to be, we didn't want a Mouse Guard role-playing game to be essentially Dungeons and Dragons, except you happen to be mice. We needed to custom make rules that fit the fact that you're mice, that fit the world, the scale, that seasons are just as important as your character attributes, that having a character is more important than having a set of stats. So it's very much designed to be a Mouse Guard role-playing game.
I can't think of any role-playing game like this other than maybe Bunnies and Burrows from what I shipped down from way back when.
Yeah, old Steve Jackson Bunnies and Burrows. I remember that.
Yeah. Your style is quite different than anything else I've seen. I mean, mean, like, there's not really much in way of like big eyes or anything like that, but yet they can able to convey actual emotions really well.
The first couple of issues, the eyes were bigger, and I realized the smaller I made them, actually the more I could make them emote, the more I could give them subtle changes. Because with the big eye, if I changed the shape, it seemed very drastic.
Right.
Kind of the smaller and beadier I made their eyes, not only did they become more expressive, but it made them more mouse-like in a way. When I went away from the actual physical, you know, the way a mouse really looks, their eyes are pretty good size on their head, but the smaller I made them in the drawings, the more mouse-like they actually became.
Mm-hmm. With Legends, you had a bunch of artists contribute their own stories to the overall universe, but still kept it fitting within that. Was there ever any ideas you have for maybe like a spin-off series that you would even allow like another artist or even a writer to take on it? And
I don't think I really foresee a time where I can let go, at least not yet, of any of the main series. That was the beauty of Legends, was that none of it had to fit any of my timelines or continuity or anything. These were Tall Tales. If I want to now inject some of the ones that I feel are really fitting,
right,
I can kind of pepper some of the Legends into actual stories. I can make reference back to the Tall Tales, the ones that I think you know, were more outrageous and where they deviated more. That was a lot of fun for Legends. I don't have to pay attention to it in the actual series, but it was perfect for the Legends series. It was a big romp, and we're going to do more Legends after Black Axe is done. We've got another full lineup of about 15 creators ready to do more stories.
Yeah, because it's really great, because basically you can do anything you want and you won't have raging fanboys like, why did this happen?
Right. I shouldn't have any continuity errors or overlaps that way. In fact, even if Tall Tales start to conflict with one another, that in a way almost bolsters the reality of them, because that is what Tall Tales tend to do.
Yeah, they get embellished and they get changed.
Yeah, they overlap and contradict. So yeah, I gave the creators some rules, some base rules of things that belong in Mouse Guard or don't belong in Mouse Guard.
Right.
But as long as they played by the and also things like I try to keep the animals native to this Michigan area. No gratuitous violence, no adult, sexual scenes or sexual tension.
Right.
No adult language.
Right.
But other than that, you keep the setting roughly the same. You keep the content geared in the right direction. Have fun. And even with some of those, I bent. Another rule was don't use any of my existing characters or existing events. Like, don't do a Black Axe story. Don't do a Winter War story or something about the Weasels or the Weasel War. Right. You can do a Weasel story, just don't do something about the Weasel War.
So that's another series you have planned.
I'm doing that. Yeah. Don't contradict my stuff. But I even said, if in the email that we sent out to creators, if you are dead set, if you've got a story in mind that breaks my rules, talk to me. The rule might not be absolute, and there were a couple exceptions, two major ones. One with an animal species. Somebody wanted to do a story with a lion and some hyenas, and that's not native to this area, obviously. And I said, as long as you don't use the word lion in the story, because none of the other characters would know what a lion is. Yeah. You just have to describe give me the visual of a lion, but describe what a lion is, and it works perfectly. In fact, it fits more the idea of a big myth that way. And then another person said, I really want to do a story about Sadie, and we just made sure that it wouldn't contradict any timeline with Sadie. So.
Right. Was there any other big projects you have in mind other than Mouse Guard? Was there a set time where you think you might just finish the series and start a new series?
I have a couple ideas for some other series. I think there's maybe only one of them that I'm as dedicated to doing personally as Mouse Guard, but even still, I don't think there's ever really going to be a good occasion for me to jump ship with this and launch something else that's going to be that personal. I can't do two projects that are this personal, because I'll always be neglecting one of them.
Right.
So my guess is I'm going to end up probably handing those off and just keeping a hand in some of the development, but
approving the story, like, okay, yeah, this is good, keep going.
Yeah,
keep going.
I'm ultimately just going to have to let that go and have somebody else do those projects, because it's not worth sacrificing mouse guard for.
Right. I think that's pretty much it.
Okay.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
On a long journey to Glenstone, I sailed right into its shade.